Okay. So now from here, again, I have to repeat one more time that as we're recording, the the Book of Kadam, chapter 14 that we are talking today. And so how does the health against rejection storm? One will be think how joyful these such things will be happens. What is joyful about this drum? It is so because the ultimate aspirations comes about it. Oh, okay. Mm, okay. What is joyful? Now, this is also part of talking about once you have discouragement or dejections, then how lifting up minds. There, this joyful is thinking above, like we already mentioned that the human leisures, right? Human values, and also thinking that the result of practice, any practice like the meditation or any achievement, right, inner or external achievement, once you understanding that result, sometimes we see the benefit because the result, that benefits helping us to lifting our minds, give us hope, and then let us push to do continues to do practice. That's joyful. So regarding here, joyful is talking more about that uh, the inner qualities of the enlightenment mind. So this is not too much talking about that today. Um, so and then next here says, right? So how can the condition for negative be dispelled? So condition for be negativity is the one of the cause to that which we having the dejections or discouragement, right? So that negativity is not the conditions for negativity is talking here. It's like a someone like a terrified you, scared to you, to then you have more fears that discourage you to do something, right? So that's one meaning talking here. So and then how can the condition for negativity be dispelled? And then uh, then the drum think they are an impetus, right, for practicing forbearance. And then what benefit are there is practicing forbearance? Drum. If one's aspire for attractive appearance, forbearance is talking about the result of forbearance. Again, it's going connected with the once you have a patience, um, it makes you more like attractive or beautiful, right? So it's not talking about the external beauty. So the usually we say the internal beauty. Once you have a kind mind and compassion or more forbearance, you are forever beauty. Yeah, that's the how results comes. Once you how much you do patience, that much people will respect or come to you, talk, see you always, wishing to see you at any time. That much we becoming beauty, right? So that's the meaning here. Okay, so Dom, if one's aspire on a child, okay. So how does forbearance lead the obtainment of attractive physical appearance? Dom, the body endued with the exemplary sign and the noble mark. Apart from this, there are nothing else achieved from it. Drum. One also attends speech endued with the 60 quality of perfections melodies. That method of the dispelling dejections is most excellent. Okay. Anyhow, here talking about the benefit of doing more patience, and this is one help us to engage more the patient practice in order for dispel the negativities conditions, right? So how much you think about the benefit of the patients, that much it's encouraged you to do continuous, right? This is one method This is one method that in regarding all this practice, we thinking the benefit and then not doing the fault of not doing it or benefit of doing it. So that, comparing these two and then any practice, either you want cultivate kind mind or compassion or forbearance, whatever, you must, this one method we thinking the benefit of cultivating forbearance or compassion, or fault of not cultivating the forbearance and compassion. This is one, right? But before that, I think I want to make sure that you understand patience. Most of you might know because a lot of repeated, a lot of talks. What is really patience for you, forbearance for you? Any idea?
Is the ability to withstand anything that happens with a calm mind.
Yeah, it's mainly calm mind that's counted. Counted. That calm mind is only counted that once you do not have an anger. That's the patience, right? Sometime we do have a misunderstanding about patience that we think being witness or taking everything up onto you, be quiet, silence, not fight back, right? Those and not say anything, just quiet. That's we take as a practice of the forbearance. That's all wrong, actually. That's not saying the forbearance. As well as you burning inside, as well as you have anger inside, even you are silently quiet there, you are not doing forbearance practice. You are not patience because burning inside, right? But if you do not have any anger inside, and with that, then you are just try to say something about yourself or try to prove that what you did right or try to fight for something or your right things. Those are actually called it the patience, right? Patience is only that having anger or not. That's just count. Okay, so not being that silence. Okay, so this is the doing patience. The benefit of patience, the few things there. One here said it like aspire for attractive appearance, right? So that attractive appearance again is not the physical; it makes you forever beauty. Um, the beauty means here people wants to see you, people wants to come with you, people wants to talk to you, people more to respect to you. That was the reason to have beauty, right? So otherwise just beauty, why just there are no reason to have beauty, right? The beauty makes this kind of things, isn't it? So then forbearance and kind mind and compassion exactly do these things. Even the physical, not that attractive. Physical, you can see so ugly, but as well as your mental or the beauty or inner beauty, then people definitely always wants to come to see you and talk to you, the gathering with you, respect to you, or every time until the end of life, right? That's really called its beauty. So that forbearance makes us to have those quality. And uh, and then or call I'm just repeating line in my mind. So Chandrakirti said he's in Madhyamika text, few the fault of having anger and benefit of not having anger or benefit of having patience, right? Um, uh, it's saying that the opposite, the fault of having anger is saying makes you more ugliness, both inner and external. And then it takes your all the great analytical mind, right? Once you have anger, you cannot think well, you cannot think properly, right? So therefore, we take like action so many things that brings us regret after we comes, right? So therefore, this anger is not really once you have strong anger is we don't have able to think properly, say properly, right? So everything's will be messed up. This is the fault of having anger. Um, yeah, and then opposite, you can think the benefit of having patience. Once you do not have anger, when people like someone criticizing or blaming in front of you, as well as your calm mind, you will find the exactly answer for that, right? So if you not react immediately with anger, with a calm mind, even like if people just try to harm you or try to criticize you in front of you, as well as your calm mind, then so the first things it's joy, and then another things it's allow us to say answer to like a perfectly answer, so we can talk exactly what we should say. We can like brings exactly answer for that whatever they criticize us. You understand, right, what I mean? Okay, so this is the actually the benefit of having the forbearance and yeah, patience. So and sometime without any answer, we can make them like a have a shame, right? So like if you do not do any wrong, but other side is having really anger or jealous to you and come to you and saying so many things, bad things, right? As well as you calm and look at their face with the more kind mind. This is the best answer. They will get it. They will feel it, right? So then once they feel it, then automatically they will stop. They will get more shameful, like as a shame, right? This is shame, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they will have more shame and embarrassed to say these things to you. And then once end, and that ends forever, right? Then because the burnings, instead of you adding gasoline, you add more water, then it's forever extinguished that fires, right? Otherwise, your reaction is same as like anger. So you're adding more gasoline. As fires grows stronger and bigger, right? Never ended. So this is the yeah, okay. So further, I think it's mainly talking about how to practice, right? Practicing the forbearance. Um, there are few ideas or method from Lamrim and Kadam, the book of Kadamba as well, and then also the great details you have to look at the Shantideva text, chapter 6 is the best. Um, it's not just saying just you be patient because you think that it will overcome by it. You think that all this like give us example and reasoning to how to think. That chapter 6 is the best for forbearance practice. But I can take a few from Lamrim, both combination of the Shantideva text. So it's first like a analyze it, like it's a few way to analyze it. So the first things we are analyzing that that anger is toward done by their own intentions, with their comes with their like what we call um mm, yeah, it says here, analyze thinking what will be the reasonable ground for anger toward harm doers, right? It's like more people harm to us their own way, or they are harming us out of their control. Right? This is the first thing we analyze. They are harming us with their control, or they are harming us without control. And then we might see they're harming us with their control because they do have a strong intention to harm to me, and at the same time they're taking actions to harming me. So why not that with control? So then it says, if so, then is this there comes from their control, then is this the nature of that person's or not? That's one way to think, right? If this is the nature of their persons, then no necessary to have anger, because nature is never change it. Your anger does not make them change it, because it's nature. If it is not nature, then some can cause and condition to have them have that intention to harm to you. If so, then they are taking action with their intention without their control, because some other conditions cause them to have to have the harm to us, right? So what should be the condition? That's saying again, the harm to us could be the anger, controlling them. They're harming us because the jealousy could be the controlling them, as well as like attachment could be the control them to have those intentions to harm to us, right? So, and then the source is actually their inner evils, the mental afflictions are control them to harm. If we look at that way, they are harming us without their own control. Accept it? Yeah. So for right now, it makes sense and easy can think, right? When's really anger have it? You try to do that. We'll see. Maybe you might blame to this idea. It's wrong, right? So whatever we're learning that cultivating patience through by the thinking more reason, right? Or analyzing, those analyze we have to do every day once we have a happy mood, right? It's because it's training. Without training, cannot do anything. We have to train. So training is every day. And then it's not the time that which you have a strong anger, right? It's a good time to train once you do not have anger. That's a good time to train. And that training help you to not have anger, or once you have anger, immediately stop it. That's how we need to get there, right? So therefore, all this analyzing is just think by yourself and imagination. Someone come to you, right? It's just someone come to you that the bad guys, what we or difficulty people, who we should usually have it, and then they're harming us, and then in imagination, how your reactions think. This is the how training we training that way. So more training with the imagination that will help actual real life, right? When you meet that person, you will remember all these things that what you practice or analyze with the imagination. You will remember those things. Once you remember it, it can be stopped immediately, the anger habit. So this is how the process to develop our patience. Then, of course, it is out of their control. Then there are no reason to have anger, right? Even they have a strong intention, that intention is also out of their control. Then why we are having anger as like a mental illness, right? The mental illness, the persons once try to harm to us will not have anger, or we easily forgive. them because we know the situations, circumstances, right? That's easily can excuse. So similarly, if we can easily practice forbearance, be patient with the mental illness, then same, we should also be patient with people who are out of their own control. Because the reason is same. Both are, once we're labeling the mental illness, one another we're not labeling mental illness, both are similarly that though both are out of their own control. This is exactly same, right? So, and then not just make differentiate with this. Reason is same. As reason is same, if you are willing to forgive or being patient with the mental illness, then use that same example and idea to the people who out of their doing harm to us, they are out of their controls. So in general, whoever harming, they are out of their control, right? If you say no, not their own out of their control anytime or every day, every time is not out of their control. Sometimes they do have their control, right? We might think that. So then Shantideva said, if so, then who wants to suffering in this earth, right? If no one wants to suffering, then there will no one harms to each other because each one knows harming others, whether you have a temporary benefit or not, harming others is cause us problem, suffering. As far as there no one wants to have suffering, then intently, freely, their own control will not harm to each others, right? Because of no one wants to suffering. So therefore, that's reason, let us understand that everyone harming is out of their control. Similarly as alcoholics and then mental illness. It's exactly same. Okay, what are you going to say that?
I had a question from the start, because I think that you said there's some people whose true nature is anger. Did I misunderstand?
If it is their nature, I'm saying if their nature, right? So the analysis comes from there. Is their own control or out of their control? Then we say they harms to me by their own control. If so, then they're having anger, they're harming us, is their nature or not nature? That's how we analyze. If they're natures, then why we have harms? Because it's nature, nothing can change. If they're not nature, then why we having anger toward them? So be patient. This is just the way to analyze it.
But if it's nature, I take that as intentional versus like in control versus out of control.
If this is nature, then we don't have to be anger. This is how we need to think. But it is not natural actually.
Okay.
Right? This is not their nature. Harming is not the nature of human beings. And having anger is not the nature of human being. Right? But if it is, just we are many different ways to analyze to making our minds calm, right? So then if it is the nature of this human life to harming each other, then no reason to have anger because not can change it. That's how we think.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So then continuously it's saying okay, so it's basically everyone's who harms to us to out of their control, right? There's the reason that no one wants suffering. You can think that. And the further analyzing, it's also it says let me see. I quoted from Lamrim. Oh, yeah, here, okay, I can additionally, the Chandrakriti and Arya Devas, their texts, giving us to think how human nature is and what really we have to have anger toward, or we shouldn't, right? That's the thing. Accordingly, there was 400 stanza says, just as a doctor does not fight but help, patients who are possessed by spirit thought they get angry. So the sage see that the afflictions are at fault, not the person who have the afflictions. So that's separating, right? We have to think the person and then their negative emotion. We have to separate. Usually, the person means their body, mind, actions, right? And then what else? Yeah, we can separate the body. Body is not the person's. That action is not the person's, and then mind is the not person's. But the person is related with the mind, body, actions. Right? Sometimes it's confuse us, misunderstand that as well as they're related, we might think it's all same. If you come and analyze further, we'll see there are so many different things there. So the point here, we also should differentiate it between that the person's bad intentions and person itself. The bad intention is not that person, but of course that bad intentions belongs to that person's, is related with that person, but not that person is, right? The person is different than their bad intentions. So as well as there are two different things, and that bad intention, or which is lead by bad intentions, that negative emotions, which person have it, if we really wants to be anger, you can go back to it. Should really anchor to the main source, which is leading the bad intentions, which is one of the negative emotion. Yeah. Huh?
I'm struggling a little bit with not being in control,
Okay.
of and creating suffering. So if you have bad intentions, you could be in control of those bad intentions and create suffering. Is it? If that's true, then you could be you're not always out of control, even though your nature is good. You can be in control, causing suffering because you are intentionally trying to conjure up some sort of reaction, maybe from somebody that's negative.
Yeah, that intentions comes from where? That's the way you're thinking.
I'm sorry.
That bad intention, that which people have a bad intent. This is the mainly we judge that people do for us to harm to us where they're in control,
Right.
because they have strong intention. That's how we judge it, right? But we have to think that intentions comes from where? What is the source of having that intention? Then we will see another cause there. And then even that intention is depend on something. That intention is not comes by their own. That's so I will more analyze the next. It has a beautiful analyze things. Yeah.
Wouldn't it all come down to ignorance? I mean, there are certainly people who think anger will make them happy, right? If they think someone deserves their anger, it makes them feel righteous, or if they feel that they're, tough love, like if I express anger, this person will realize what they've done. Like, isn't there always in the back of the mind, even for people who are habitually angry, they think it brings them happiness. It makes them feel powerful,
Yes.
makes them feel righteous. Yeah. So it all just goes back to being wrong, right? Just ignorance.
Yeah, absolutely. The ignorance is the rooted actually. And then that ignorance brings us some kind of misunderstand and then misconception. That misconceptions brings us some kind of negative emotion arises. That negative emotion leaded us having negative intention that lead us to take actions. So this is perfect time to talk patience, right? Okay. And yeah, let me repeat one more time that Ayadeva really talks about that we should see different between the the negative emotion who holds it, and the person, negative emotions and the person who holds the negative emotions, two different things, right? So, and then the person is out of their control because their negative emotion is controlling them. And that's as well as two different than why we have anger to the person instead of having anger to the negative emotions, because that's the main source that's we taught it, right? Yeah. So therefore, so the sage see that afflictions are at fault. Afflictions are fault, yes, but not the person who have the afflictions. The person is not the fault. Affliction is fault. But for us, if we're not careful things, we think all same, all one, that confuse us, then who we should have anger to, right? Who we should forgive. We makes us more confused because we see everything is same as one. Action, person, mind, intention, everything seeing is one, right? So because we are not that much using our mental consciousness, we're more using the five sense consciousness, and which especially more using the eyes consciousness. Whatever you see is immediately what comes in mind, that we decided yes or no. Right? So if we more think, then more further analyzes, oh, wait a minute, let me think, right? So even I think that thoughts comes, wait a minute, it is right or wrong. Let me more further analyze it. That's how we need to go. And this the one things Shantideva said. And then Chandrakritis, he says, this is not living being fault. Rather, it is the fault of the afflictions. So the learn, analyze, and do not fight with others. Although many reasoning are set forth engaging in the Bodhisattva deeds, it says it is easy to be certain of this one, and it is very powerful remedy for anger. Okay, so the powerful remedy to anger, both are saying same, that the actual fault is not the person, that person bad intention. The intention is not the real fault, that the negative emotion is the fault, actually the main source, and then go back to the ignorance after, right? This is good to know. We're separating between these two, right? The sage means the Buddha sees the affliction is for, not the person who has the fault. Okay. So then next also analyzing, say, is analyzed for the either advantageousness or inherency. So, right, it is just temporary or inherently harming once people harms to us, right? And again, it's an inherency harms. Then Shantideva said, we will not have anger to fire because it's heat, right? Because we understand that heat is the nature of the fire. Therefore, once we touch the fire, we burn it. We not throw anger to fire because we know this is nature of the fire. Same way, if this anger or the harm is nature of the person, then there are no reason to have anger, which I mentioned earlier. And then it's a temporary, then why we have anger? Because it's not the person, the natures. It's not the person's the fault. So then why we have anger? So the most beautiful analyze is next one. It's saying analyze of whether the harms is direct or indirect. This is beautiful. So let me more go detail with it. So direct and indirect. And again, they giving the example. Let me read the Shantideva's the Bodhisattva way deeds. Bodhisattva deeds. So it says the stick and so forth directly cause the harm. But if I am angry at the one who threw it, then since hostility impel them, it is better to get anger at hostility, right? So now it's analyzing, say when someone hits you stick, we have a painful. in a body. Same time we have anger, right? So then analyzing who should have anger? Through stick, or the hand, or the person, or the intentions, or that intention which is lead by which we should have anger. That's the we need to analyze it, right? So if you are thinking, I have a pain, therefore I'm having anger, then you must hang anger toward the stick, because stick, it's get directly touched to your body, and that's the brings pain, right? So then why we not have anger to a stick? Then what you are going to say? What are you going to say?
Throw it.
Sorry?
The stick didn't throw it.
Yeah,
So you
stick,
can't be mad at the stick because the stick.
stick not comes by their own,
Right.
right? Yeah, that's the saying. Then why you not have anger to the hand who moved the stick? Then what are you going to say?
Somebody controlled the hands.
Yes, right? So, oh yeah, this hand is not the main, right? So someone there. And who is the someone? The person. That's the we end it. We never further analyze it, right? That's the we end it. Actual, not the person. The intention, isn't that? Intentions to control the persons, then moved their hand, and then the stick comes to our body, right? Touch to our body. So then actually the intentions, right? So then why we not have anger to intentions instead of the person? Right? So, and then also the intention is not the main one. Again, the one of the reflections, mental reflections, either the ignorance or anger or some afflictions to cause them have that bad intentions. That's the how it comes. And the main source is the ignorance. Right? Ignorance arises those negative emotions, and that's how it comes. So then, why not have anger to the main source, or why not have anger to the which is directly attached to you? Why are we having anger in the middle? Right? So why we choose the middle? That's the we have to think, right? Actually, we're choosing the middle one, right? Not the main source, not the which is directly attached to us. So middle one is we choose to have anger. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be because we feel that the physical person that we can see and touch is fixable? We feel like we can change them so they won't be angry. But the anger itself or the intention is mental, which we don't feel like we have control over. I mean, unless you want to, well, you would befriend the person and try and talk to them about their intention and their negative emotions, but that doesn't usually go well.
It's the same, right? It's the same.
Stranger that resist.
This is how we hope we can change the person. But we are not realizing changing person is depend on changing their intention.
Right. But changing their intention is
depend on again,
more
yes.
difficult.
Yes.
It might be impossible.
Yeah. As far as we can change the person's anger, then we can change the person. Right? And the person's ignorance, then we can change the person. This is the hope. Otherwise, if we are not able to change the person's anger and ignorance, then there's no way to change that person. Right? So, and generally, so once they do not have an anger, or once they do not have any negative intentions, then we don't need to change. This is the way they are. That's how we want it, right? We don't need to change them. People have like taking all this harms each other, and then all this like negative actions because they have some kind of negative emotions. That's how we detect negative emotion actions, right? So source, either you making person change or you having total anger, actually go back to the main source, the ignorance and the reflections. This is how it's worked. Yeah.
But if you just by not reacting in a way that they would want you to react or expect you to react, couldn't that help them with their ignorance issue? If it goes back to ignorance, then they say, oh, maybe by doing that, it wasn't going to cause them to change. They didn't respond. They were, calm in the situation. And if they were to think about it, they might say that, oh, I was wrong. I was ignorant, by
Possible.
doing that because it didn't create that,
Yeah.
so maybe a different approach, and then maybe help them become wiser by
Yeah.
not responding in the way that they would want you to.
That's worked sometime, yeah. So it works, and then also it's help the one way to help, right? But if we keep hoping that if we can change the person, it's very difficult. And then how many person you want to change then, right? So today someone calls you a problem, yes, we change it, be parent. Next another arises, next another arises, and then thousand comes to you, cause you have problem. So if you try to change each one, then you remember what Shantideva said, right? So it's impossible. It is impossible. Therefore, Shantideva and everyone's saying, sorry, everyone's saying that instead of changing them, change yourself, then solve every problem, right? Because it's one thing is very difficult to change them, and then it's a numerous that person there who we want to change it. It's almost impossible to us based on our capacity and ability, right? Yeah. So yeah, I have a little bit cough. This analyzer is very when I was young, I hear it first time. I said, "Wow, it's beautiful," but it's not really applied in daily life. It's not work. I know it, but when I have anger, it's anger there. It's not work, right? But when we grow up, thinking more and more and more and more, then it began to help. It began to become a more powerful than those antidotes, right? Just knowing is not help. It's clearly know that. So it's beautiful, but it's very depend on daily practice and training. Yeah.
Geshe,
Uh-huh.
do you feel hunger sometimes too?
Of course. Yeah, of course. But usually I share it, I share it when I was young, almost like a 10-time anger or 20-time angers a day. Very angry person, that's like my father's. So right now, almost not.
Almost.
Like a month, I can count how many times in a month. Maybe 2 times, 3 times, or 5 times. Yeah. So that much peaceful. So it's really think and then help, right? This analysis is very beautiful. It makes sense when we analyze it, and then it's not just made it up, it's just reasonable, right? And then this is how we need to think, and then being more patient, right? And then another one is here. Okay, I didn't see. Okay. Okay, not here. The analyze of the cause impel the harm doors. Okay. So I do not have it here. And then also look at the Kadamba's book of Kadamba. The book of Kadamba said like a few different methods, right? So one method, sometimes you can think who are towards harm you, think as they are your teachers, right? And another method, some are saying who comes to you harm, you think as their mental illness. And if Buddhists who believe the karma, that's one method, easy understand that. who is harming to you, that think that that it's reflecting your karma to you, right? So that's just, who do not believe the karma, difficult to accept it, but who believe karma is easily accepted, that who is reflecting my karmas, who harming to me. So there are few ways to think to how to stop the forbearance, right? And one thing, the suffering, our own suffering is the one causing us to have anger, right? So in generally, there are three type of patients, isn't that? Anyone knows that? Three type of patients? Okay. So the patience of accepting suffering, that's one, right? And patience of disregarding who harms done to you, right? So, and then the patience or we'll call chilling, I don't, how I can translate. I think the patience for to achievement, something for example, like when we do meditate, right? And then it's a painful everywhere. But when we think benefit, I'm receiving something good. Therefore, I'm just handling those. This patience is something that you're receiving it. So three type, right? So other two patience, like a patience of disregarding who harms done to you. That's what we taught it. How we disregarding it, like who harms to you, right? So thinking they are out of their control and they are not their main source and not their natures. And then if this is the natural, if really the person, one good thing is, a powerful thing is help us to understand is the patient, the anger is the really necessary or powerful in our daily life. Or once people have strong anger, then harms done to us, then still we think they are doing their own control. If so, then how you can define once people have anger and suiciding, take their own life, which is the most beautiful in their life, which is the very essence and precious in their life, right? Their life is the most essence and precious, our own life, to me, yes, right? So once I have anger, even I'm taking this out, then there are no question harming others, taking others' life. This is the power of anger. This is not the natural persons. They're not the power of the persons. It's power of anger. Once anger arises, everyone lose their own control. Go up to that, even take their own life. Then why we have a surprise to taking other life through by anger? Because it's willing to take their own life. All right? So then we should more judge to their own anger. We should more see negative their angers. We should, if we really wants to have, we really don't want to give forgive, you shouldn't give forgive to their anger. But person, you should give forgive. Right? So you shouldn't give forgive to their angers. Because this is the main source, doing everything. Up to taking their life. This is really powerful to understand how we are under the control of the anger, right? So, and then this is actually the how disregarding harm done to you, and then accepting suffering, the patience of accepting suffering, because the suffering is the one that causes us to have anger, right? Either your own suffering or your relatives suffering or whoever suffering, right? So basically your own suffering, it's like cause you have anger, then it says accept it. Accept it means, okay, here another, let me read the English word. Okay, it says, rejecting the idea that when suffering occurs, it is absolutely unpleasant. Rejecting it. We shouldn't see that suffering is absolutely unpleasant, right? When we see that, then we always have like a heavy, even like a small amount of suffering, that we feel it's very heavy because the mentally think it's 100% unpleasant, right? So once you think every time that how suffering is absolutely unpleasant, then that's always cause you have suffering, and then you have more suffering, heavy suffering, longer suffering. But if you rejecting those, not think that suffering is absolutely unpleasant, then we will experience exactly what suffer having right now, right? So otherwise, something suffer having with us right now, and then we think it's so bad, unpleasant, and then all the reason we're thinking why it's only happening with me, and then why it's with me, and then those reason makes your suffering is more heavier. If your suffering is 10%, but you add it from your thoughts and reasoning, it will becoming like 100% heavy. But actual is 10%. If you see suffering is always not the unpleasant, then you will be experiencing exactly 10% is. If you have having like a suffering about the 10%, you will exactly feel 10%, no more there. Right? So, but what is the method and idea to like shouldn't think that suffering is absolutely unpleasant? And it says, think benefit of suffering. Right? So the benefit of suffering, Shantideva said, it's reduce your ego, right? It reduce your pride. Once you have a suffering, then we will be just as tire puncture. You understand that the tires fill up the air, right? Once it hits a nail, it's puncturing, right? This is how when we have a sick, then we shut down. Everything's air goes, right? So that's why the not having like a pride. It will reduce our own pride. Your own experience suffering is, right? And then it will help you ask to have more empathy to others because you experience it, you actually feel it. And once you see other same feeling, then you will easily can empathy or be compassionate or be kind to others. That's how it happens, right? And then another also, once we have a suffering, we would say it's regarding Buddhist, purifying your karma, right? So, which is like which you have negative karma, it's purifying it, which is good. So, those things, it's talking about the benefit of suffering or good quality of suffering, right? So then, once you think that, like also example, Shantideva said, the fishermen, huntermen, or like farmers, whether are very hot or very cold, it's not really affect them to work. They will continue to work, right? The fisher will be even the hard weather, they will do it. Farmer as same, they accept it. They do not think the hard weather is very hard or is making to me die, right? So do not think that. They're more focusing on what I have done for surviving my life. And they're more focusing on their benefit, right? So that's help them to not like feel heavily that hard weathers. But if you think hard weather is too hot, then it makes you more like a worse, right? It's getting more, even like a more than. But the farmer will be exactly feel what exactly the hot weather it is. But once we think it's too hot, then we will feel more than actual hot weathers, right? This is how we add in a lot of suffering in our daily life. So look at them they will exactly feel what is hot and cold weather because they are accept it, and based on that, they're focusing on their benefit. Same way, we accept it, suffering, right? Sometimes accepting suffering is better than try to eliminate the suffering. Because living in this earth, living in some static place, there are no way that we shouldn't have suffering, or no way that 100% free from suffering. At least you not use another method. If you use another method, might be possible, but otherwise, just as like a normal, there are no way that we can found the place which do not have a suffering, right? There are no way that we found the house we do not have suffering, all right? So like once it's in Tibet, say that they are not house renting to the Geshe. Geshe is always arguing, debating, right? So then people, the monks and other people comes to asking them, can I like rent your house for one night, right? So then their first question, are you Geshe or not? If I'm not Geshe, then they allows. Because they know they're debating and arguing, right? So then one night, one Geshe go there and then say, they ask him, are you Geshe? Then he say, I'm not Geshe, because he needs a place to sleep. So then he sleep there, and then the mothers found like the bed bug, and then asked the children, oh, throw it where it shouldn't die, that bed bug. Throw some places where it not die. Then Geshe immediately said, please bring me to their place where it not die. Geshe immediately argued, right? Okay, then please bring me there where it not die the place. So because there's no place which never not die, right? So same, there no place where we now have suffering. House, place, friend, wherever you go, there are no. So therefore, better learn how to deal with the suffering instead of try to eliminate the suffering. This is one challenge, right? This is according here, accepting suffering. The accepting will make big change it. So this is how we should overcome by our own anger, which is caused by, right? Okay. Okay, then let me finish this all. And what is next comes. Okay, then the master, do both mental excitement and anxiety arise? Drum, they are in abundance on those who are unruly. What method should one pursue to dispel this? Drum, there are none greater than perfect equanimity, which is thinking emptiness. Yeah, this emptiness is the perfect method to overcome by those ignorance and so on, right? And what happens if one meditations on compassion? Drum, they can arise, for one can feel dejected. And should one meditate on loving kindness alone? Drum, here too dejections can arise. Should one meditate on joy alone? Drum, here too dejection arises. It's kind of like we're saying let's say not do compassion practice because it's dejection, right? So, but it's not really saying that. The pro-immeasurable, if you all this doing together will be okay. Just one by one, it could be dejected or discouragement. So, and then discouragement is not saying that if you just cultivate just compassion will discouragement. It could be at the beginning part until you know the actual what is life and what is the place where we live, nature of those things. Until you know that nature things, then always discouraged to have because the sadness and worries comes, right? When we try to cultivate compassion, we should think more about the suffering of others. And if we think more suffering of others, then it brings us sad and worry. That could be dejection or discourage us. So at that point, if you're having discouragement, then if we apply this method, it's saying then you compassion cultivate with the loving kindness together. It's saying it. And other idea is if you have that kind of sadness and too much worry, and then you're almost giving up to cultivate compassion because thinking that I'm having extra suffering through my sadness and worry, thinking of other suffering. Then we should stop to cultivate compassion, and we should learn more nature of the life and nature of this earth. Once you know the nature, then you will see what you can do or what you cannot do. So that help you to something that you cannot do it, that help you to not too much worry, not too much sadness. That encourage you, right? So that's the point here saying it. Otherwise, just being compassionate is dejections, right? Okay.
Geshe,
Uh-huh.
what am I missing that he says? There's none greater than perfect equanimity, and then at the end he says, cultivating equanimity can lead to delusion. At the end, he says, in that case, should one cultivate equanimity? And he replies, drawing here too, delusion can arise. But
Oh,
he
okay.
starts by saying there's no greater practice than perfecting equanimity. So I'm sure I'm missing something. But
in that case, should one cultivate equanimity? From here too, delusion can arise. That's what it means, right?
yeah, but earlier the fourth line says, from there is none greater than perfect equanimity.
Uh-huh.
It seems like at first he's recommending it, and then at the end he's saying
Contradictory.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. So it's saying in the case, Drum saying, right? In the case, should one cultivate equanimity? Drum here, two delusions can arise because here talking about. Then, exactly you said, then there's nothing that can be done if it's delusion. Then Dom, Atisha said, if one recognizes the absence of doing, this is perfect equanimity. So absence of doing, this is the perfect equanimity. So I think oh yeah, okay. So okay, this equanimity and this equanimity is different. This equality of nature, ultimate reality, right? This equanimity is talking about the equanimity of not attachment or not aversions. That's equanimity mind, right? Our mind should be not biased to the different persons through by the attachment and the aversions. That's equanimity could be arises delusion.
so one is associated with ignorance and the other is not.
Yes, not.
Yes,
So other is opposite of ignorance, yeah. So because we know that perfect equanimity, this with the context, we know what this is and what the next one. This equanimity is emptiness, then wisdom, yeah.
Are they different words in Tibetan or in this?
Both are used here, Tangyom, right? I think both are used here. Okay. Yes. The above equanimity Tibetan would use nyamni. Nyamni means emptiness, right? Second equanimity Tibetan use tangyom. Tangyom means tang is you release it, and nyom means make equal. What you need to release is attachment and aversions. Release, let it go, and then make equanimity. Let's see. Sorry. Okay. So let's end it then. Just reading it, okay? Okay. So from here, two dejection arises, and then caste should one cultivate equanimity. From here, two delusions arises. Okay, then there nothing then can, now next equanimity, perfect equanimity. This is like in wisdom, right? Then there nothing then can be done. From if one recognize that absence of doing, absence of absolutely, absence of inherently, then this is the perfect equanimity, which is emptiness. Understand, right? Through this may be true, does it help at all? Drum, it is not that it does not help. There's no doors. Master, isn't this because there is nothing to do? Now you have understand, Drum. Okay. The final here. So how should one practice the immersible thoughts? Drum, forcefully and carefully practice all four. One excitations and anxiety occurs. Drum. Therefore, one practice all four of them. Aaron, all four more powerful than one. Drum, yet one is the antidote for others. So because it's saying that the four immersible is supporting each other, so therefore one's could more together will be the better powerful. So now it's bottom lines how we can eliminate the suffering. This is the through by the meditations, how we can eliminate the suffering through by eliminating the distraction and anxiety, right? So and then bottom line is conclusion here, meditate on equanimity, being patient, and also cultivate the immersible. This is the main practice here to overcome by suffering. Okay? Any question you have it? Any question? Or online people?
Was that summary of all chapter 14?
It's a whole chapter 14, yeah. This is summary, yeah. So next, two Sunday, I'm not available. Oh, not next, this next, and then next Sunday, Anila will talk, and follow Sunday, I will come. Then again, next Sunday, I will not here. So just like your coming Sunday, Ani Tendrila will talk.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, this coming
the
Sunday.
Coming Sunday.
Coming Sunday.
When the fall cleanup is gonna be November 1st?
What's that?
The fall cleanup.
Clean up is 9.
It's on the 9th.
9, yeah.
It's on the Saturday.
It's Saturday, yeah. Okay. So if you do not have a question, I'm going to stop here. Anyone? Okay. And do you have any question?
Usually with the stick and anger,
Stick and anger.
yeah, and you were saying you understand you have anger, and you know the stick can't accept the anger. Is it a good practice to get mad at the stick or angry at the stick instead of?
It's fine. Because a stick is directly attached to us, right?
But there's still anger.
It's still anger, right? If you really want to be anger, then not the person.
Not the person.
At least save something, right? Save something. Saving fighting. But better not have anger, right?
You're
Yeah,
practicing
yeah.
changing where your anger is directed.
Yeah.
is, I think.
If you really want to have anger, then you shouldn't misunderstand to who should have anger. You exactly do it. That's the same.
That's no fun either. I
Yeah.
spent a long time being angry at inanimate objects.
Oh yeah, that's remind me.
It was bad.
One could analyze it. Inanimate and what called and animates, yeah. So which is cause us like a natural disaster and then persons, right? So we're having more anger to persons, but not the natural disasters. Why is it? Because both are distorting as same, then why we having anger toward a person? Again, the reason might be same that we have a hope to change, natural desires to know we shouldn't hope for change. But again, we don't have a hope to change. So that's the one thing. And then another Shantideva said, people harms to you with their ignorantly, and who have an anger ignorantly, both are fault as same. Who is the right then? Right? Both are doing with ignorantly. Having anger is ignorantly, and harming to us is both are ignorantly. Then what is fault? What is not fault? Both are fault. This is also said it. Then you will find so many beautiful lines in Shantideva text, chapter 6. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. Then I'm going to stop here. Have a wonderful day. Wonderful day. Yeah.